I'm John Nord, and I'm going to show you how I make a squash blossom necklace. This is a list of the things that I used in mine, and I made some of this and some of it I ordered. Okay, this is my layout sheet, and this shows how I'm going to do my necklace and the different spaces between the blossoms. I started out by cutting all my cabs. I cut them from rough turquoise, and I started cutting 1/4-inch slabs first, and then I cut those into circles, and then I put them on dop sticks, and I started polishing them on my lapidary polishing wheels, and I had to do this for about 17 stones. Okay, after I finished my cabs, I took them and I put them into my planning sheet to the way I wanted them and where I wanted them to be on the necklace, and I numbered them on the back so I could keep track of them as far as where I wanted them to be through the process of making the necklace. The first step was to make the silver beads. It takes about 150 beads to complete this necklace, and I started out by cutting 5/16 sterling disc out of 26 gauge, and I domed them about 6 different domes to get to the right 8mm size. And I did this process. I made about half of my beads this way, and you also have to drill the hole in the center of the bead to get it perfect. And after I went through this process, I started figuring my time and the materials, and I discovered that it was going to be a lot cheaper for me to buy these beads already made. They're sterling beads. They are an exact copy of what I was making. They're 8mm, and I purchased them, and actually it came out cheaper when I figured material and labor on making the beads. Plus, it speeded up the time in getting this done for sure. So I think that was the right decision for me. Okay, the first order of business was, after the beads, is to form the supports for the naha. And I milled a 1/8 by 1/8 inch square sterling wire, milled it and annealed it, and then I hammered it out on my anvil to get these yolks. They wound up about 3/16 wide by 3/32 thick. I arched them slowly by bending them with my pliers a little at a time. Now there's one that's longer than the other. It goes around the outside, and then you've got a smaller one that goes on the inside. And these are real important for the naha, and I hope I'm saying that right. Anyway, you mount your stones around this to make the very important yoke you see at the bottom of the necklace. So I got that done, and I can progress through and mount my stones to that as I get them done. Okay, then I start to bezel my stones. Like I say, I have 17 of them, and I took some 3/16 serrated fine silver bevel strip, chose to bezel them. I formed them around the stones, and then I soldered the ends together with 75% silver solder. And this is real important so they don't come apart when you're doing the other soldering. Then I checked each one on the stone to make sure they fit right, and then I sanded them back and forth until I had the bottoms of them flat, because you want it sitting down on the silver sheet completely flat. You don't want no gaps, or it won't solder down properly. So I just sand them back and forth on that piece of sandpaper. Then I chose a piece of 22 gauge sterling as my backing, and I made sure I had room around it for the rope border. And then some of these are going to have some beads at the end, so I had to have a lot of sterling to get this all done, and that's where I went next. Okay, now that I got my bezels put together and checked on the stones, I'm going to solder them down on the pieces of 22 gauge, and I take some little 65% silver solder chips, put down in the bottom of it, and I flux up both pieces real nice. And then I just run my torch around this bezel. I don't direct it straight on the bezel or anything. I just direct it around it, and then the metal will slowly come up to temperature, and then those chips will start melting. And once they start melting, then I move my torch in a little closer and bring that heat around that bezel, and that melted solder will just follow it right around the edge, whereas you see here, and it will close up any gaps that I had and make it good. I used 2 pieces of 18 gauge round sterling wire to make my rope, and I twisted it together with my drill in a vise, and then I annealed it, and I just formed it around the bezels and brought the ends together. And then I take this off of the bezel and I take it over to my holding fixture, and I use some fire scoff. I have to heat it up to about 400 degrees, and then I spray the fire scoff on the joint, and that gets it fluxed real nice. And then I take 65% solder and just touch that joint, and it solders that rope together. And then I take that rope over and I flip it upside down and sand it flat, and that way it'll sit down on that sheet, and when you solder it, it solders down real easy that way. Okay, my next step was to rope the settings that are going on the Naha, and I've got about 7 gems that are going to go on there, or settings, and I trim around those ropes up close, and then that gives me my trimmed settings. Now the center one on the Naha has beads on it. I put some beads on it to make it stand out, and then I just solder it down on those 2 support wires in the arrangement that I want. And this forms the Naha, and it makes it the way I want it, and I've got it to where I can put it on my pattern and progress from there. Okay, now we need a cable support with 2 loops on it to put at the top of the Naha, and it's formed out of 0.080 by 0.040 wide half round, and I figured up my measurements I needed. I curled the first loop, and then I measured a certain measurement over. But anyway, what I wound up with is a piece that's 0.550 inches long, just over a half of an inch. And then I soldered it right in the dead center of the top of the Naha, and the 2 cables will come through this to keep them aligned. And I also put my maker's mark on the top of this Naha and ready to go. Here you go. I've got the turquoise all set in the Naha, and I was anxious to get this done. I put those 3 beads on that top center stone, and I put it in my pattern, and I like the way this looks. Kind of shows that I'm getting some progress done. Okay, I've got to make 10 more of these double loop cable supports for the blossom settings, and I purchased my blossoms from the pliers that I bought the beads from. It was just easier for me to do that, and I smashed the ends of them where I can solder them down to the back side of the blossom settings. Okay, what I did next is I started working on the blossom settings, and I put 3 little beads on one end of it just for extra decoration on each one of them. And here I am soldering those all down to the 22 gauge backing, and I just work my heat around it, and then I trim them off up close to the rope and the beads, and this is one of them here. Anyway, and then I put the double loop right in the center and in line with where the bloom's going to go. The bloom's going to go right on the back side of those beads. And it's real important you get this centered up on these, the same on each one. And then I take a clip, a stainless steel clip, and I hold the bloom onto the setting right at the back side of those beads, and I solder that down there. And then I dip it into my muriatic acid to clean it up. Okay, this is the finished product out of the acid. It cleans up the flux real nice. And then I take some silicone bristle wheels, and I start cleaning these all up and polishing them, because this is the best time to get them polished up. And I use different color wheels to get it up polished. These work good for all the different ins and out crevices on these type of settings. And this is the finished product, and it looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to begin setting the turquoise in these settings. I put some sawdust in it to cushion the stone, and then I put the stone in it. And then what I do is I have a pulse graver, and I take a brass tip and I just put it on a hammer, and I just let it hammer the settings over under my microscope. That way I can control the bending of the setting, and I make sure I don't crack the stone. And this is one that's finished up here, and I do 10 of these, and I've got them laid in my pattern so I can see how they're all going to look. And I like the way it looks so far. Okay, we're going to start stringing all this together. I use a .019 nylon coated stainless steel cable, and I cut a piece about 48 inches long, and I'm going to double it to where I've got a double strand. And then I'm going to take that folded end where I doubled it, and I'm going to put that into the sterling hook, and then I'm going to crimp that crimp down on that doubled end, as you can see there in the picture. And then the other end, where the two cables are separated, I tape them together with some Scotch tape. That way I can feed them through the beads easier. And I start feeding them. And what you want to remember is what you're putting on this first is going to be on the top right side of the necklace, which that's considering right side with it hanging on your chest. So that's where these first beads are going to be, at the very top. And as you progress down to the blossoms, you have to count your beads. It takes about 21 beads to get down to the first bloom, and that's where you'll separate it out and into two different wires and two lines of beads right above the first bloom. And then they'll come back through the start going through those double loops on the back of them blooms, and then you'll put beads on each line going between each bloom. And the beads need to equal, like here I've got 4 beads on each line between each bloom. And you can change this up, but this is what I did. Okay, this shows how I progressed from a single line wire to a double line, and it's how it's going through the loops on the back. Now here on the top of the naha, you're going to need less beads on the top strand as the lower strand. I think I had 10 on the top strand and 12 on the bottom strand around that curve, like 5 to the right of the loop and 6 on the bottom strand to the right of the loop. And that keeps it hanging straight. And then you just progress up the other side and keep all your spacing right. And you want to keep all the slack out of all this between the beads. And when you come up to the top, pull your double strands through your eye, crimp eye, and make sure all the slack is out between the beads, because once you crimp it down, that's it. But if you've got all this slack out, pull it through that eye and crimp it down, then snip the double wires off, and you're ready to go. And that finishes the necklace. And here's a shot of it, and I've got a better picture of it at the end. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe.